we begin with a chilling question. Why are people simply vanishing from a remote corner of Australia's outback? In recent years, there have been at least 6 unexplained disappearances. The latest, Jennie and Ray Kehlet, a mum and dad from Perth, out on a camping holiday. They were prospecting in country filled with pitfalls and peppered with strange characters. Their family don't know if the harsh country took them or if they fell foul of an outback loner. Tonight, the man who was the last to see them alive speaks for the first time about this stunning mystery. Here's Alex Cullen.
It's quite easy to get lost out in the bush. There's no one around to help you. There's no phone service out here. It's pretty dangerous, yeah.
If anybody knows anything, please come forward and tell the police. It's gone on too long.
It's a treacherous, remote landscape. The eastern goldfields of outback Australia. An awesome expanse, filled with hidden trapdoors and deadly, seemingly bottomless pits. The adventurous, the hopeful and the desperate have come here over the years to hunt for gold. And they left the place scarred with these deep mine shafts.
Them mines down there are pretty old, over 100 years old, most of them.
Some with rotten wooden scaffolding crisscrossing the entrance.
If you go down one of those,
You won't be coming out.
Others hidden under sticks and trees.
Better off keep away from the old mine shafts. Yeah, no, very dangerous.
You'll run into some interesting characters out here. People like Paul Scruffy Bennett, who's been looking for his El Dorado since the early 80s.
This is a nice piece.
Scruffy knows this country like the back of his hand, and even he has to tread carefully.
that's pretty deep there, Scruffy.
Yeah. See the water down the bottom? Yeah. Right, yeah. You ready? Yep. I'll drop this rock down. Oh, long way down there.
That is a long way down.
Yep.
The length of the MCG,
Yep.
that deep.
Yep.
This country is hard, but so too are many of the people chasing their fortune in this epic landscape.
To give you some idea of how vast this region is, imagine an area bigger than France. It's more than 1 million square kilometres of nothing, just a few isolated communities. It's very easy to get lost out here, and if you lose your bearings, you could lose your life.
Out here, where the law is thin and way out of reach, the big question is, was it the country that took these latest lives or a murderer?
Did they tell you where they were going?
They didn't. It was all kept very hush-hush in typical prospecting fashion. The idea of not giving away the secret spots was reasonably high priority.
I think because prospecting, you don't want people to know where your big thing is. You know, if you found the $1 million payload, you're not going to be telling anybody else about it.
Can you begin to explain what's happened here? What do you think?
I don't know. I've run through all sorts of different scenarios, possibilities, and nothing makes sense. Just nothing makes sense at all.
Nothing makes sense about the disappearance of Ray and Jennie Kehlet because the clues are so thin on the ground.
It is yet another particularly challenging investigation, policing what is literally the world's largest single policing jurisdiction of over 2.5 million square kilometres.
They loved each other completely. They found what both of them needed in each other.
47-year-old Ray and Jennie, 49, had kids from previous marriages. Jennie had 3, Darcy and his 2 younger sisters, Kelly and Brittany.
Mum was the Iron Maiden. She was a woman of steel. Massive spirit, massive character. Everyone loved her to bits. Ray was larger than life. Work hard all day and then he'd knock off and he'd be great fun. Love a laugh, love a drink.
Their beloved dog Ella never left their side.
She is just the sweetest dog, I think, ever. She was their shadow. She went everywhere with them.
Ray and Jennie lived near the town of Beverley, south of Perth. They loved the outdoors, went camping whenever they could.
So they were experienced, they'd done a lot of it.
Yeah, they'd spent plenty of time camping, camping and fishing were the main two.
I think they loved the bush mainly. They just loved going out and being peaceful and just being around nature.
Ray and Jennie's latest adventure would lead them north, deep into the goldfields. Exactly where, they wouldn't say. And they weren't going alone.
They had a friend with them, Graham Milne. Tell me about him.
They were very close friends. Graham's a very nice man. They met at work and they just became great friends, you know. He would come out here all the time. He was the one who taught them to prospect out on their property. They were just really close friends.
So they were in good hands with Graham?
Yeah, he was very experienced. He's done it a lot of times. He was the one who taught them everything. He had all the gear ready. Mum and Ray were borrowing his stuff, so he knew what to do.
What do you like about prospecting?
The bush, the freedom, the open space. The quiet.
What about Sandstone? Whose idea was it to go up there?
It was probably a combination between Ray and myself. I'd been there before, and we'd done a lot of research and come to the conclusion that there's a lot of areas that old-timers had possibly missed.
Ray, Jennie, their dog Ella and Graham began the 700-kilometre journey north on March 19. The tiny, isolated town of Sandstone's about the only thing that passes for civilization out here. The prospectors would set up camp about 30 kilometres south.
So this is where they were, Scruffy?
Yeah, that's where they had their campsite here.
Jen was cooking breakfast and the dog bolted again. And then Ray got his bike and I gave Jen my quad so that they could round it up. They went in two different directions. And I cleaned up camp. And then that morning I went prospecting.
And so how long did you go out for?
All day and most of the night, and got back to camp early as.
Graham Milne told police he arrived back at camp in the early hours of the next morning, March 22. He says he believed all was normal. Saw the dog Ella, thought Ray and Jennie were asleep in their tent and left about 3 a.m. without saying goodbye.
Graham was returning to Perth for work.
Was Graham the last person to see them?
From the information we have, yes.
Out of nowhere, Ella the Great Dane wandered alone, dehydrated and emaciated, into the Sandstone caravan park. The campsite where she'd been with Ray and Jennie was 30 kilometres away.
What's happened from the early hours of the 22nd of March to the 28th of March, when Ella the Great Dane is located in Sandstone, is now a large part of the focus of our investigation to try to determine what happened.
When Ella turned up in Sandstone, Ray and Jennie's family reported them missing.
We knew something was wrong because Ella's always with them. They don't leave her anywhere. And the thought of Ella being in Sandstone, if they were down here, just didn't make any sense at all.
Were you the last person to see Ray and Jennie?
I don't know. I don't know.
As the last person to see Ray and Jennie, suspicion fell on Graham Milne. He has cooperated with police, but not the local media, which has only fueled speculation that he may have been involved.
I can't even go out my gate without thinking, is there somebody parked down the road.
And what do you say to them?
Just leave me alone, leave my family alone, and leave my friends alone.
Graham Milne is an intensely private man and has thought long and hard about agreeing to this interview.
So you got back to camp. What did you see? Anything unusual or?
Before I left,
Yes.
appeared to be the same.
And where were Ray and Jennie?
I assume they were in bed, in the tent on top of their trailer.
And you didn't want to disturb them?
No, you don't go knocking on somebody's tent early hours of the morning. It's just not done.
Locals and nearly 50 police officers and emergency workers began searching this huge expanse.
Running through sectors 6, 1.8, 1.5 and 1.6 today.
Back at the campsite, rain had washed away any tracks. But they did find Ray's loaded rifle on the back seat of his vehicle.
For him to leave a rifle unboxed, loaded on a seat of the back of the car is 100% out of character. To me, it would indicate that he was intending to fire the weapon.
But police disagreed.
That's not uncommon. Now, obviously firearms have to be secured appropriately and the like. However, that didn't raise any alarm bells.
Police and rescue workers searched above ground and deep below in the century-old death traps littering the landscape. They found Ray's quad bike half a kilometre from camp. Then, after more than a week of searching, police found a body at the bottom of this 15-metre deep mine shaft. It was Ray Kehlet.
What a shock.
Yeah, big shock. Big shock. Yeah, that was a bit of a grim day.
We found out from the news. We were waiting for a phone call, but the news said it first. It's still really hard to think about it. I pretty much reacted like this.
Yeah.
You can't prepare yourself for it, really.
I just couldn't believe it. Just couldn't believe it. It was just... It's just something you don't want to hear. It's, I still can't believe it.
For the family, it was hard to accept that this was just an accident, and Ray had tripped down a mine shaft. He was safety conscious and didn't take risks. No prospecting equipment was found in the mine shaft or on the surface, but that wasn't all.
He was found without a shirt on. In the whole time I've known him, I've not known him to be outside without a shirt on. For him to be kilometres away from his camp on foot with no shirt on is enormously strange.
Sunday Night has obtained new information that gunshots were heard in the area. Police now want anyone who was shooting or heard those gunshots to come forward.
Was he shot?
I can tell you that he wasn't shot.
Was he burned?
I can tell you that he wasn't burnt.
Was he pushed?
There is no evidence at all or available to police to suggest that he was pushed down that shaft.
Police also want to speak to people driving in a white four-wheel drive, seen in the area at the time of Ray and Jennie's disappearance. A can of pepper spray was also found, and police are trying to work out where it came from.
Finding Ray was one half of this mystery, and we still don't know how or why he ended up down this mine shaft. And the bigger question remains, where was Jennie?
Prospecting equipment and a GPS locator were also missing from the campsite. Police went back to Graham Milne.
Has he been cooperative with police?
All of our witnesses have been fully cooperative, yes.
Is Graham Milne a person of interest?
Of the 70 witnesses we identified thus far, that is how we're referring to them. We have no person of interest.
What do you say to those people that are speculating that you had some involvement because you were the last person to see them?
Well, I can't stop people drawing their own conclusions. You're going to get that, it doesn't matter what. People are going to say things. Well, they can keep saying them, it doesn't matter. They don't know. And when they find Jen, we'll know what happened.
Has this affected your life?
It's just sheer hell. It's just, I think about them every day.
Mm-hmm.
Just something that I hope never ever happens to anybody else.
You must miss it terribly.
Yeah, sorry. I'm all right. But yes, we do. Every day.
I've got to find your mum.
Yeah, we got to find Mum. One way or another, we want her home.